Welcome to this week's Authors Love Readers podcast, where we delve into the stories behind the stories. We're asking authors questions, some of them fun, some of them serious, and from their answers, you're going to learn things you never knew about the people who write the stories you love. My name is Patricia McLinn. I'm your host and designated question asker.
I'm Barbara Ankrum, and I'm an author who loves readers.
Now, let's start the show. Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Authors Love Readers podcast. It is my pleasure today to have Barbara Ankrum with us. This is another one of those lost back in the mists of time of exactly when we met. But I have a vivid memory of us at the New Orleans Romance Writers of America conference, walking through the dark streets of New Orleans to go listen to an Irish singer. Do you remember that?
Yes, it was very dark. In fact, I remember that.
I think I don't know if we got a CD of it. Well, it might not have been CDs at that time. It might have been tapes. But I had something of his for a while, and then I think it got lost in a move, unfortunately.
I will walk miles for an Irish singer, honestly. So I suspect you're absolutely right. That's exactly who we were going to see.
So tell our readers, first of all, what kind of books you write.
Okay, well, thank you first for asking me on the podcast. I'm thrilled to be with you today and talking to your readers and your listeners. I write a lot of different stuff, but I've started out writing Western historicals, and I've written quite a few of those books, and I am now mostly writing contemporaries, and they're also Western contemporaries. They're set in the West, and now I'm writing for Tule Publishing.
Now, when you say the West, do you mean a specific area, or do you roam around the West?
I roam a bit. You know, my historicals are really roaming. There were some that were set in, Colorado or New Mexico or Montana. Montana is a favorite of mine, and with my Tule books, they're almost all set in Montana, in this little town called Marietta, Montana, which is a made-up town that a lot of Tule authors write about. And we're all writing books set there, but none of our books are actually connected except by some characters. And readers just love Marietta so much. They just love that town. It's a sweet little hometown.
Yeah, for a reader, it's got to feel like they live in that town and are experiencing the stories of their neighbors and friends. That's cool.
I think for a lot of readers, it is that, it's a real escape, and it's kind of like an Andy Griffith town, a sweet place to be.
Okay, let's let the readers get to know you a little bit. I'm going to hit you first with, have you had any surprising jobs?
Well, I was an actress for a long time.
Where are you?
I did commercials for years before I started writing. So I lived in Hollywood in LA. And I probably did about, 40 national commercials in my time.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
So what was the coolest one you did?
Oh, the coolest one was, I would have to say Head and Shoulders, which is, kind of embarrassing because, there I was scratching my head, but it was my I was scratching my head on a bus, and it was literally my longest running commercial. And so many people still remember it. It was just one of those commercials, that played all the time and played for years. And so, yeah, that was a good one. That was a really good one. But I did a lot of mom stuff. I was like the girl next door, kind of young mom for a long time. And yeah, so that was a job that was really fun. And I'd actually intended to become an actress, a real actress, like TV and film. But I ended up getting married right after I started doing commercials and immediately having children. And, so it actually worked out great because I was able to go on auditions and, do 1-day jobs or 2-day jobs here and there and be with my kids. So I liked it. I liked doing that, and that's where it went.
Mm-hmm. So what was the worst one you did?
The worst commercial?
The worst experience for you as making the...
Oh, the worst experience? Oh, well, I have to say it was a Polaroid commercial I did with this director who's just notoriously misogynistic. And he loved to humiliate actresses on the set. I mean, he was sort of famous for it. And I didn't know until I got the job that that's who was directing me. But yeah, he did it in front of the whole crew. He was horrible. And I mean, I just had to take a moment. I finally just took a moment, and he was like, "Okay, roll it." And I'm like, "No, just wait a second." And I literally stopped the entire production, just took a moment to gather myself, and then I did the take that he ended up using. And yeah, but it was not good. It was not a good experience. I kind of thought, well, do I really want to keep doing this? I don't know. And I did, but he was the worst.
Do you ever use any of that in your books?
You mean the Hollywood stuff?
And or your reactions, your emotions about it? Yeah.
Well, yes. I mean, and that's the short answer is definitely I have, because I really think that a lot of my characterizations came directly out of my acting workshops that I took, when I was younger, and learning how to create characters as an actress. And I mean, I didn't use a whole lot of that in my commercial career, but because it was pretty standard, straightforward, delivery. But it always kind of touched my imagination when I first started doing it. And I'd have notebooks full of backstory for these characters I was doing. I was way overboard, of course, because there was this little writer person living inside of me, apparently, that just loved to delve deeper into backstory. So yeah, I definitely use that directly in my writing years later when I decided to start writing.
That's wonderful. One of the issues that a lot of us run into as authors is how to indicate emotion without saying it,
Mm-hmm.
and without going to the tried and true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of all the ones that I use too much, narrowing the eyes and
The body language thing.
the
Yeah.
mouth quirking. And
Sure.
but do you, from your experience acting, do you have other body language cues? Do you think you have a broader repertoire to call on to indicate through body language description in a book, or dialogue tags, what the character's emotion is?
Yes.
And which one can I steal?
I have to say that dialogue for me is a better way of showing the emotion, and using subtext for me is a better way, because we never talk directly, even when we're talking to each other. I mean, we always have some little voice going on in our heads about what we're really thinking. And even if I don't write that on the page, if I'm writing in subtext, I basically mean you're saying something quite different from what you mean, but it's very clear what you mean. And so characters can have a whole conversation sometimes that's completely around what they're meaning. And it's kind of more powerful. There was a movie, I mean, for your readers, this is just something that they can watch. There was a movie called Country Girl, and it's an old movie, bunch of old movie stars in it. And it was written during the Blacklist time. I think it was Dalton Trimbo might have written it. I'm not sure, but whoever wrote it was a master of subtext. And I watched it. I mean, there wasn't a single scene in it. It was about alcoholism, I think. And the characters there was 3 of them. There was 2 men and a woman. And they never said what they meant. They never, in one piece of dialogue, they never said what they meant. And it's just a genius, place to go look at it if you ever want to see what subtext is.
That's wonderful.
And after I watched that, I'm like, okay, well, I have to figure out how to do this. Figure out how to incorporate that in. And I do think it really does help emotionally for your characters. I mean, as far as body language goes, yeah, I mean, we all kind of watch each other and, and see kind of how people are reacting. But I think, it's sometimes better to allow, our characters to have like a moment, a moment to absorb what's happening, themselves,
So you're using the dialogue tags to give the character and the reader that moment to observe.
Yeah.
I often think that dialogue is the most powerful. I like it So maybe this is self-serving, but I think it's the most powerful because it's where the writer steps back more, and it's more directly from the character to the other characters and from the characters to the reader,
right,
in particular. So there's less filter through it.
and I think also readers want to put themselves in the scene, with their characters. I think a lot of times they want to, and I do when I read. I mean, I want to be that character, kind of. I want to see what he says, what the hero's gonna come back.
Especially having been an actor.
Yeah,
being an actor, that you get right in there into the dialogue. Yeah.
I did screenwriting for a long time too.
Oh.
I mean, that's another odd job that I've had, because I got into a deal. My husband, David, has worked in many jobs in the industry. He was an actor for many years, and a voiceover guy, and he was a writer. He did a couple of shows, and then he was an agent. So he's done all kinds of things. But years ago, he started a screenplay that was optioned, and ultimately he brought me in on it because he wanted to add a romance into it. He's like, who should I get? And who should I ask to help me with this? And so he brought me on. It was a vampire screenplay, actually. And we wanted to put a romance in it. So I did that. But that's a whole other art form. And I mean, a lot of people think it should be easy to write a screenplay, just like they think it's easy to write a book, but it is not. I can tell you from personal experience, it is not easy to write a screenplay well. That screenplay got optioned. It was in development for years, and gosh, it never ended up getting done. But that's another weird job I've had that I've gotten paid for.
Well, that's terrific. And I love screenplay writing books for how-tos. Like my book that I go back to all the time is by Linda Seeger, How to Make a Good Script Great.
Yep. I have it.
That really resonates with me. But I have never had any interest in
writing one.
Or getting involved in that, because it is so, I guess it's so collaborative.
You're right. You're so right.
I don't want to give up give up the power, I guess. It's my world.
Exactly. I had a little hard time with that too, to be honest. I did have a hard time with that. So, and getting notes from the producers, and I'm just like, can't you just see what I'm trying to do?
Yeah, leave me alone.
Stop it.
Well, those are fascinating. Okay, and as long as we got such good stuff out of that, let's see what happens with this question. Do you have any fears, any strong fears, and do you use them in books, in your stories?
Okay, truth. I am really afraid of dark water. I'm not really good in dark water. Like, I'm really good in a swimming pool or a really clear ocean or a lake that's really clear. I can do that. But once it gets dark, I don't like it. And I can only assume that it came from some horrible past life experience that I drowned in. And I've definitely used that in books before. In several of my historicals, they've ended up in dark, swift water that has not been a fun experience for them. So yeah.
And how does that make you feel when you're using it in the book? Do you experience the fear at the same time?
Yeah. Yes. I sadly do. I have never gotten over it. We just went to the lake actually a couple of weekends ago over Memorial Day, and it was a lake that was stirred up by a lot of weather, and it was dark. I couldn't see, and I was not happy. I was not happy to go in.
Is it the thought of things coming at you that you can't see in the water, or is it being sucked down into?
Yes, okay. That's exactly it. It's like it's if I should stop being able to swim miraculously, because I'm a good swimmer, and all of a sudden I just got pulled under, or I got cramp, or something happened. Yeah, it's silly. I mean, it's silly. I even had a life preserver on. I had a noodle I can hang on to.
I don't think it's necessarily silly, but I guess I'm always curious about how we recycle things that happen to us into our stories. So, well, we got into serious stuff here.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Fear generally is kind of it's a great stirrer-upper of good conflict and emotion. So it comes up in my books quite a bit.
So let's go to something fun. What's your favorite color?
Blue-green, I guess. Sort of blue and green.
Has it changed over the years, or is this something you've always
I think the green
liked
has
the
come
most?
in more recently, and I think out of gardening and trees growing, and I love green.
Oh, interesting.
But blue is I guess my eye color, and I don't know why. I guess I've always felt good in blue, so I sort of became my color, but I'm sort of tending more toward green now.
So one of the questions from a reader is, when we finish a book, do we think about the characters? And specifically, do you think about the characters after you've finished? Do you miss them?
Yes, I do. Which is why I tend to like the next series, because I just can't bear to let them go.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So you get to keep coming back to them.
They show up now and then, and I want to know what's going on with them. I want to know what happened. What was that baby like that they had, or are they still together, or like, well, of course they are, but like, what happened? They have to be still together, and there's no divorces in romance. But yeah, I definitely miss them, and when I finish a book, I'm a little sad, I have to admit. I'm happy, I'm relieved that it's done, the process of writing, but I'm sad not to have them kind of living in me all the time, which they do.
Yeah, my end process is pretty intense and draining, and so there's a great element of relief too. But it's usually a few weeks after I'm going, oh, you want to go to lunch?
I mean, well, especially the ones that are really fun to write. I mean, sometimes some books are harder than others. Some books are more fun than others to write and to read, I guess. I suppose, but the really fun ones, the ones that I just want her to be my girlfriend, and go ahead. Yeah, like you said, go have lunch.
Can you think of a book that's been just a joy to write, than one of your easiest?
The Christmas Wish was my first Christmas book that I'd ever written, actually, believe it or not. I mean, all these years, I don't know what I was thinking not writing one before, but I finally wrote one a couple years ago, and Eve was just a character. It was Eve and Ben in that book. And they were part of the Canada series of my Tule books. And they were all Canada sisters. And Eve was the third sister. And oh my gosh, I had so much fun with that story. There was like a magical reindeer, and there was all kinds of fun stuff in that story. And interestingly, that story, it was so much fun to write. I loved it. I still love it. I go back and I can read it again, and I'm like, and I never do that with my book.
Oh,
I never go back and read them again. But that book I've picked up a couple times, and I'm like, oh, that was kind of a good scene. I like that scene. So there's 4 of them in that series, actually. And now my new series called Band of Brothers is also connected to the Canadays. One of the characters from the Canada series, who was not obviously a sister, it was a guy, is part of this new series called Band of Brothers. But back to that book again, that book, I mean, I can say it just got optioned, and it's going to be a TV cable movie. Yeah, it's in development right now as a cable TV movie. And I can't tell you any more than that. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's pretty exciting. I have to say, one way or another, like after years of being in development with screenwriting, it's like, it's going to be pretty exciting if it actually happens. I still have my fingers and toes crossed, so keep them crossed.
You'll have to come back after it's out as a movie. You'll have to come back and tell us about the process and what all happened. That's cool. Woo.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting.
So we have one reader who asks, and we often get asked where our ideas come from. But I love that she also goes on and says that she knows some authors who literally dream their stories, and others who have a character who'll just take up residence in their head and start talking. And then she asks, where do your beautiful stories come from? And I just love that she says the beautiful.
So
yeah.
sweet.
So
sweet. Yeah, I don't dream my characters. I wish. I mean, I feel so jealous of those writers who like, I can't write the story fast enough. And that just never really happens to me. I'm never really chasing my words, trying to get a story down. It's a much longer process for me, but I do get inspired by movies sometimes. Honestly, I get inspired by characters, and this book. I'm actually, I have a book birthday today. My latest book, Road to You, is just out today. Actually, this will come out in a couple months, so it's not going to be so new. But that book was actually inspired by Roman Holiday.
Oh, then see, that's one I would always want to rewrite the ending.
Yeah, I did. I did
Yay!
rewrite the ending. It has a happy ending. But yeah, there's another one of those bittersweet movies. But yeah, that I watched that for like the 100th time because that's another one of my favorite movies. And I just thought I just would love to write a twist on this story. So the process just kind of goes like I have an idea like that, and I sit and think about it for a while. I just kind of like let it sit for a little bit and kind of stew. And how could I write that story, that would work for me? And I generally always start with characters. So I flipped that story on its head and made him the one who was the princess, but not really the princess. It was a totally different thing. And she was the reporter. So it took that book took a lot of messing with. It was not an easy book for me to write, and I doubted it in the middle, and but it all worked out in the end, and I'm really happy with it. It's getting some good feedback, so that's good.
You have this concept. You had
Yeah,
the core of Roman Holiday, and that
yeah,
you wanted it to end better.
yeah.
And then you said you need characters. How do you go about finding or building or realizing the characters who are going to fit into that story?
Well, okay. Well, for instance, I'm writing a series, so this Band of Brothers series. I already know I've set up the guys that are in the series, so I know who they are going to be, and who the stories are going to be about. But there was one character in there who didn't show up in the beginning, who was sort of a mysterious character, and I left him a little nebulous, intentionally. And it turned out this was his story. And so I didn't know too much about him. So I sort of had to make it up. And it was lucky that I didn't really set too much up about him because it fit perfectly in here. And I needed something for him to be hiding out from. I needed him to be somebody kind of who he really wasn't, because I was basically using the, formula, not the formula, but the structure of Roman Holiday, where she was a princess and she was so tired of being a princess and she just wanted to live her own life. She just wanted to really live
Mhm.
a life that she chose, just for a day, even, and she knew it couldn't last, but she just wanted to
Mhm.
taste it. And so that's what I had to come up with for him. How can I make that work for a guy? Because it was a very different character, obviously, than her, and it was kind of a big twist.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, very very
Different
different.
times too. Yeah.
So he needed something a little bit heavier and a little darker than that, and something that he was hiding his identity about. I don't want to give it away because I'd give away too many spoilers in it, but he's not who he seems to be in the story, and she's sort of uncovers that about him early on.
So she was created out of what was needed to challenge him.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
and even just loosely based, on the story itself, I also needed to have a character arc for both of them. And I knew
Mhm.
generally the character arc that happened in Roman Holiday, but this was going to have a happy ending. And I always have to figure out what the growth is for the characters. That's always my starting point. Like, where do I want to begin and where do I want them to end? So I had to know that. That's pretty much, I have to know that before I can start writing. And I don't need to know exactly the ending, but I need to know where I want them to end up emotionally in the story.
And you write from the beginning straight through to the end?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't skip around. Do you?
Oh yeah.
You skip
Oh
around?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't. I'm too
And
linear.
I don't know what the arc is when I start. I don't know. I find it eventually, but
I think for me, I just need to know it. It's just if I didn't know that, I'd feel like I was like in the deep water without a life preserver.
deep dark water.
That'd be deep dark water for me.
And I get, if I know what's going to happen, if that's told the story for me, and I'm onto something else.
See, I don't know what's going to happen exactly. That's not what I mean. I just need to know emotionally how they're going to grow out of the story.
Okay.
Like I need to know like what's your fear? Like what's holding you back from being in your best life right now? Like what happened to you that made you stop or be afraid to do something or to push love away, or what happened? And how is this girl going to change that in you? Like what needs to happen for you to trust again? Or where do you want to end up? Do you want to end up as a trusting human being? Do you want to end up as a love for somebody else? Or do you want to end up as a, successful businessman? Like what is it that's going to make you tick?
Yeah, I don't consciously know that what has happened when I start the book.
Yeah.
I usually know something has happened. And I will usually kind of write whatever I'm given, whatever I know at the time, and then I have to go back and look, and there are usually hints in there.
Yes, that's true, right?
What happened? Yeah, isn't that totally gifts?
Yeah, that happens to me too. And
well,
I don't know everything, and some of it's revealed as I'm writing. A lot of it's revealed in dialogue sometimes, that they'll say stuff that I'm like, huh? What? Say what? Excuse me? So yeah, sometimes it's just a general arc that I need to know. But otherwise, like for this book in particular, there was something that had to happen to him back in his childhood that I needed to figure out. And I did need to know that up front. I needed to know that because everything in it hinged on that.
So we can say my writing process is unhinged.
Yeah, no, I would never say that, Pat. I would never.
No, I'm saying it. I would
say that we're all different. We all approach it differently. Thank goodness, because that makes for a lot of good, interesting stories, right?
And I think you have to get to the same place at the end. It's just how you get there.
Yeah, it's the journey.
I have done workshop with Emily Richards called Writing from the Inside Out and the Outside In.
Oh, I love her.
And she does structure and then comes into the characters. And I start with the characters and eventually come out and figure out structure. And you have to have both to be successful. You just don't have to necessarily do it in the same order.
You were talking earlier about screenwriting feeding novel writing too. And, I think the structure is the same, basically, between the two. And once you get that kind of rhythm after you've written a few books, once you get that rhythm, it's sort of ingrown, you sort of know how it has to go. You get the rhythm and the pacing for a story, and it's really comes down to the characters, really comes down to how are they going to get through this together somehow.
So as you're writing, as you're going through your process, what is the hardest part for you? And what's the most fun, most joyful?
The hardest part's the middle, generally for me, when I start questioning whether I have a conflict or a plot or or characters that actually work. And it happens every book. I mean, I start questioning it, halfway through. And it's only because I'm not a great plotter anymore. I'm more of a pantster anymore. I used to be much more of a plotter.
Oh,
yeah.
You changed?
Yeah.
Wow. And the most people go the other direction, I think, if they're going to change.
Yeah. When I was writing for New York publishers, I had to know it all up front. I had to write a synopsis and I had to sell it on some chapters. And so I did have to write it all out and think it all through. And then when I started writing for indie publishers like Tule, I didn't need to know that much about it. I could write a one-pager of general, story, and that was enough for them. And so it was kind of a gift for me to be able to just like wow, you mean I don't have to I don't have to follow your rules. I could just do what I want to do. And I tried it, and it's not easier, I don't think. It's just more fun for me.
I'm totally a pantser and out of sequence, and so
Yeah.
yes, it's I've tried the other way, it doesn't work. So yes, definitely, that's more fun
Yeah.
to do it in a way that works. But
again, that's different for everybody.
let me hit you with a really interesting question from a reader of, if you could write with any other writer, write a book, alive or dead, who would you want to work with and why?
Well, I'm not a good collaborator, as we've spoken about before. So I don't know. As far as learning from another writer, I have to say I adore J.K. Rowling. I would love to sit in her living room and just hang out with her for a while and see how her brain works, because she is probably one of the most creative people I've ever, heard about. Honestly, I've read her books. I love them. And I just think she's so interesting and fascinating. So yeah, I would definitely like to sit with her for a while and pick her brain.
Okay. And another writer asks, where is your favorite place to write? And does it have an inspirational view? And why does that place work for you? And then I will tag on from me, do you have a routine that you follow?
Okay. Well, yeah, I do have a favorite place, which is my office generally. For many years, I wrote in the middle of my living room. I had a desk there, but my kids were in and out and flying around me, and it was controlled chaos most of the time. Now that my kids are grown, I have given up my desk. I can't sit at a desk anymore and write. It's it's difficult on my neck, honestly. I just don't enjoy sitting at the desk anymore typing. So I bought this Pong IKEA chair that I sit at with my laptop, and I have a little slide up sort of lap desk sort of thing that I sit at. And I do have a really nice view out my window. My cat is sitting in it right now. she's my supervisor. She usually comes here and hangs out with me. So yeah, I'm not really a coffee shop writer. I've thought about trying it though, just to get away from the internet, which is probably a good thing. And I might try that sometime, but for the most part, this is where I write all the time, right here in my little room. I have more of a routine when I'm on a deadline, but I do try to write every day. I do write on weekends, and I'm pretty bad at getting enough done to avoid my deadline crunch, because I almost always have one. And yeah, that's kind of bad. But I promised myself that this summer I was not going to have one, and I'm not going to have one this summer, which is good. I'm working on something, but it's not going as quickly as I would like it to. So anyway, but I'm really pretty disciplined as a writer. I do write every day.
I think a lot of writing is making choices, and deadlines make you make the choices. You have got to turn left or turn right. You've got to do it right then. You have to let go of all the things. If you turn left, you have to let go of all those things that could have happened turning right.
That's exactly right. Deadlines inspire that.
Because I find I almost always write long and then cut. It works for me. I think it makes the book stronger and the writing stronger. So I find almost everything that I cut, almost everything may be too strong, but that much more of what I cut comes from what I write when I'm writing regularly along the way. And then the stuff I do in the deadline crunch almost all stands.
Yeah, isn't that weird? You're so right. That's exactly right with me too. And the other weird thing is that when you're, going back to read it, the stuff that you wrote under that serious pressure and so fast, right? It's always the stuff that I go, wow, did I write that?
Yeah.
It's almost like you're sort of like writing in a fugue state, when you're on that kind of a deadline crunch, and you're just it's just coming out of you, and you don't have time to argue with it. Is this right? Is this wrong?
Aha. Yes.
And it's just there, and and you sometimes even forget what you've written because it's coming out of you in such an organic kind of way, I think.
Okay, we are revealing to the readers how crazy we really are. Yes, you're seeing behind the curtain, but that's what this podcast promises. So, do you have a lot of communication from your readers? Do you have any? Can you tell us any good stories about interactions with readers?
And I have had some really sweet notes from readers, one in particular that I just really remember, and it was on, my Facebook page. She emailed me or PM'd me. And she had been going through a lot of stuff, really difficult time, and she just wanted to thank me for my book, just thank me for like making her laugh and making her feel good and making her hopeful, And I just thought, wow. I think it came for me at a time when I really needed to hear that, and I just thought, gosh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. And honestly, as an author, it means so much to us when readers reach out to us, because we work in this little vacuum basically most of the time. And it just means so much when you let us know what you think or how you feel about stuff, and, leave reviews, that kind of stuff. It's really helpful to us. And I listen to my reviews. I really do. I really read them. And I do listen to even the bad ones, which I do get occasionally, when I've pushed somebody's button.
It is.
And, I do look at that and, I think, well, is there a way I could have done that better, or can I do that better in the future? And I definitely, take it in.
Okay, for readers who haven't tried your books, what would be the best book or a best couple books for them to try as a starting point?
Okay, well, I mean, like I said, I write in two different genres. I write historicals and I write contemporary. So it depends on which one you like, because sometimes those don't cross over. Sometimes they do. If you're a contemporary reader, I think my Candidates series, if you started at the beginning of that, which is A Cowboy to Remember, it's a fun book, and it's I love that book. That's one of my favorite books. So that book, that kind of leads into Choose Me Cowboy and a Cowboy to Remember. I would say start with those two, and they're very different, but they're about the Candidates sisters, who I think you'll love. I love. If you're into historicals, my Wild Western Hearts series, Holtz Gamble was my very first book that I ever wrote. And it's sort of the book of my heart. It was an Oregon Trail story. Loved the book so much forever. It's like I still love that book because it was my first baby. And that kind of leads into the whole series of Wild Western Hearts. But then I wrote a book just recently, a year or so ago, called The Ruination of Essie Sparks, which is one of my favorite books now too. So that's a half-breed story
I love that you're still writing historical and contemporary.
I know. I'm not writing Western historical right now, but that's my last one that I've written. I've got to get back to it because I really do love it. I miss it. I just love writing those stories. And
do you have any books that you think have been that have been maybe overlooked, even by your most loyal readers, that they just aren't as familiar with?
Yeah, I mean, I think the newer historicals, the Wild Western Hearts, and is the first series, and then Wild Western Rogues is the second, and they haven't quite been as noticed, I think, as the first series was. And I do love both of them. It's like The Lady Takes a Gunslinger and The Ruination of Essie Sparks. So I would love for readers to find those, because I need another book in that series, probably, for readers to actually find it. So I'm waiting for my chance to get a few months together to write one of those.
And where in general can readers find out more about you and your books?
I'm on Facebook. I have an Amazon page, and I have a website at barbarankrum.com.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you wanted to answer, or that I should have asked you?
Oh gosh. No, I just think, I just want to, pass on to your readers and maybe your aspiring writers that I just love what I do so much. And I love that you guys love what we do as writers. I love writers. I've, like I said, been teaching writers for a long time, and I have many, many friends who have come out of that teaching and who are now successful authors, which is very exciting for me to see. I love mentoring people, that way. That's a big part of my life, as well as the writing. And I just love the life that writing has given to me. That's all I have to say. I mean, I couldn't have imagined
That's
it.
wonderful.
Yeah, I couldn't have imagined.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy that I have the life I have because of these books and because of you guys as readers who have supported me and helped me along the way. So thank you so much. And thanks for tuning in today.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I want to say that I can remember as a kid and reading stories, and somebody must have told me, but having the sudden recognition that there were people out there who earned a living by writing stories, and thinking, hot damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Like,
I
really?
probably didn't think that at that age, but that was the gist of what I was thinking. I was like, all right, this is possible. How cool is this?
Yeah.
So it is amazing to be able to do it.
It is.
Okay, we're going to slide into a favorite end part here, the either ors.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
Okay.
So we will hit you with appetizer or dessert.
Oh, dessert.
Opera or show tunes?
Show tunes.
Heels or slippers?
Slippers.
Paper plates or best china?
Best china. For sure.
Oh. House decorating or gardening?
Gardening.
Day or night?
Day.
Hiking boots or cowboy boots?
Oh, hiking boots.
Pickup or sports car?
Sports car.
Cruise or trekking vacation?
Cruise, maybe. Well, trekking. Yeah, trekking.
Spring or fall?
Spring.
Ice cream or cake?
Cake.
Hot air balloon or train trip?
Oh, hot air balloon, please.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I live in Kansas. I see them all the time, and I'm determined to take one.
Okay. That would be cool. I've been on a really short one, but I loved it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take one.
Cat or dog?
Oh. Can I say both?
You're not supposed
to. I have both.
I know.
She's sitting here staring at me. I can't say cat. I can't say dog.
Daisies or roses? Okay, I'll let you get by with that one.
Okay, roses.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Nail polish or bare nails?
Bare nails.
Winter Olympics or Summer Olympics?
Oh, I think winter.
All right. And this is the last one. Grab the best first or save the best for last?
Oh, I don't know. I think save the best for last. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You were doing so well.
I really slowed down on that one. Sorry about that. Yeah. Like, wait a minute.
And you tripped up on the cat or dog.
What is it I'm taking? So.
This may be why we need deadlines to make us
This is my writer's brain getting away. It's no problem.
Well, this has been wonderful, Barbara. It's been so great talking with you and inviting the readers in to listen in as we catch up and talk about writing.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm glad you did. And to the listeners, we'll say, hope you come back next week to hear another edition of Authors Love Readers podcast with another writer talking about his or her experiences and what goes on behind the scenes, what's behind their stories. In the meantime, I wish you a week of very happy reading. that's the show for this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for joining Authors Love Readers podcast. Remember, you can always find out more about our guest authors in the show notes, and you can find out more about me at www.patriciamclinn.com. You can also send in questions to be asked of future authors at podcast@authorslovereaders.com. Until next week, wishing you lots of happy reading. Bye.